Beyond the veil of ordinary perception hums an ancient technology, the forgotten art of biological alchemy through vibrational command. Civilizations from Atlantis to Akkad guarded this truth with their lives. That human speech carries not just meaning, but measurable, physical power over matter. Modern science now whispers what the initiates always knew, that every declaration you make sends shockwaves through your quantum biology, programming your cells with either chains or wings. When you utter, "I'm sick," you're not describing a state but authoring it. When you sigh, "I'm old," you're not observing time but enforcing it. This is no metaphor. It's the hidden physics behind every healing miracle and spontaneous remission, the unspoken reason why some words feel heavy as stone while others light up your nervous system like starlight. The secret isn't in what you say, but in the sacred geometry of how you say it, the precise frequencies that resonate with your body's original design. In moments, you'll receive more than knowledge. You'll reclaim your birthright as a conscious architect of your own biology. The phrase you're about to learn isn't new. It's the oldest sound in existence, the same vibrational pattern that shaped your first cell in the womb and that your DNA has been waiting to hear again. When it leaves your lips with proper intention, you won't be giving your body instructions. You'll be speaking to it in its mother tongue, awakening a cellular memory older than civilization itself. This is why words can heal or harm, why curses manifest and blessings transform. You're not just a speaker of language, but a wielder of the primordial force that arranges particles into flesh and thought into reality. The ancients called this magic. Today, you'll know it as your forgotten native language. If these words have stirred something deep within you, that like button is not just an icon. It's a sacred sigil, a mark of alignment with a hidden current of power. This click is your oath, a silent vow that your soul has recognized the call. And if you sense that this video is more than data on a screen, then subscribe. You won't just follow a channel. You'll step into an unseen order, a guild of those who understand that reality is coded in vibration. Your thumb isn't pressing glass, it's etching a rune into the fabric of existence. Will you complete the spell? The word is the breath of the soul, and the soul is the mold of the flesh. Before humanity's vibrational fall, there was no confusion between what was felt and what was created. The spirit gave the order and the body carried it out. It was immediate. Words were not memorized. They were sacred instruments of command. Every sentence, every sound, every gesture had a direct consequence on matter. And the cells, tiny conscious sparks of the human temple, awaited in reverence the breath that would activate them. Thoth wrote this in the grimoire like one recording an urgent warning. He revealed that, in ancient times, every cell was like an attentive scribe in the hall of the gods. A clear intention was enough, and biology reorganized itself. Pain ceased, inflammation receded, aging slowed. There was no resistance, only readiness, because the body knew. He who commands with awareness never fails to deliver. But over time, something was lost, the words were emptied, the sentences began to be repeated without presence. The mouth continued to speak, but the spirit could no longer sustain the sound. And the cells, too loyal to distinguish between divine command and mental noise, continued to obey, only now they obeyed chaotic orders. It was then that the silent rebellion began, a revolt that doesn't scream, doesn't explode, doesn't announce itself. It happens in the shadows of everyday life, a poorly spoken sentence here, a repeated thought there, an unconscious outburst of pain. And the body, in its sacred humility, records it all as truth. I'm exhausted. This is killing me. I can't take it anymore. Every time these words are spoken, the cells listen as if the Creator himself had spoken them, and they respond. They interrupt the energy, unbalance the systems, and disturb the internal harmony, not out of a desire for collapse, but because they have been trained to serve without question. Thoth was clear when he wrote, "Humanity did not get sick by chance, it got sick by repetition." It repeated the wrong sentences, he repeated unresolved feelings, repeated self-destructive thoughts. And when all this became routine, the body had no choice. It transformed the unconscious commands into symptoms. But why do cells obey, even to that which destroys them? Thoth answers with a brutal truth. Because the body does not judge, it does not value, it simply serves. It does not decide whether the command comes from an enlightened master or a distracted mind. It executes, and it does so perfectly. If the liver receives the order to produce inflammation, it obeys. If the nervous system is commanded by desperation, it drains energy. If the stomach hears the word refuse, it rejects food. This absolute obedience is both a gift and a curse, because it gives man the power to create at every moment, even when he thinks he is only letting off steam. And so, word after word, decade after decade, the flesh molds itself to the misused verb. But the most serious part is that this programming does not only act on the physical plane, it takes root in the subtle fields. The cell is only the visible tip of an invisible chain that begins in the etheric field and flows into matter. The command is born in the imperceptible and is carried out in the flesh. For this reason, when Thoth wrote of this silent rebellion, he did not accuse the body, he warned the soul. The betrayal did not come from the cells, it came from forgetfulness, from the unconscious use of the word, from repetition without presence, from the belief that what is said does not count. It was precisely that error that broke the bond between spirit and body. And it is precisely here that the wisdom of Thoth begins to rebuild the temple. Because the grimoire is not only a warning about error, it contains the code to reverse it. And that code begins with something so simple, so basic, that for generations it went unnoticed. The breath. The living bridge between what is felt and what is manifested. The code that reactivates the lost command. The breath of creation, the breath that awakens the word. This fracture between spirit and body, caused by the unconscious use of words, was not born of evil, it was born of disconnection. Man stopped breathing like a divine being to live in emotional apnea, stifling commands in his chest, ignoring the only bridge that connects all dimensions of the self, the breath. Thoth reveals in the grimoire that no decree can be obeyed unless it is supported by a conscious breath. There is no creative word without the breath of presence. For this reason, he delivers the Fiastra rite of restoration, the sacred breath Ankita. The name isn't poetic, it's vibrational. Ank means life in eternal renewal. Ita is the divine principle in manifestation. Together, these two words form the silent command that reactivates the lost axis between body and consciousness. The ritual is simple in appearance, but powerful in essence. It isn't meant to relax, it's meant to awaken. Awaken the cells, awaken the flesh, awaken the living word that has become obscured from within. Thoth describes the human body as having three primary command gates, three centers that, when synchronized by conscious breathing, return to functioning as a single channel. The heart, the solar plexus, and the throat. The heart is the altar where emotion becomes frequency. The solar plexus is the generator of pure, unresisting will. The throat is the throne of the sacred word, where intention becomes sound. In initiation, one inhales slowly and purposefully. The first breath is guided to the heart. There, emotion is felt without judgment. One does not seek peace or joy. One feels what is alive. With the second breath, the air descends to the solar plexus, the will awakens, and energy begins to flow. With the third, the breath rises to the throat, but there is still no speech. There is silence, a pulsating silence. Only then, with the body reorganized around the breath, a phrase is pronounced in absolute presence. My body serves me because I am the living word. This phrase is not a mantra, it is a decree. It is the moment when the body, once rebellious and disorganized, once again recognizes who is in command. The mind calms, the energy flows, the spirit settles. It's as if the cells, after years of waiting for a coherent order, finally hear the original sound from which everything began. They don't just obey, they celebrate, because that's why they were created. But this breath must be performed with reverence. It's not a matter of mechanical repetition. Each cycle is a vibrational lever, a reunion between soul and flesh, a reminder. You are not at the mercy of your body. Your body is at the service of your consciousness. Thoth warns, if you want the word to create reality, you must first create a field, and the field is born of the breath. Without it, every word is noise. With it, every word is law. But even after this bridge is restored, there is a river within you that continues to carry the old commands. And this river does not obey logic, it obeys accumulated vibration. This internal river, which continues to carry the old commands even after the breath has been restored, is the blood. For Thoth, it is not just a vital fluid, it is Heka, the river of subtle power that circulates between the worlds. Each drop contains a memory, not a common recollection, but a precise vibrational record of everything ever said, felt, and believed. Blood does not think, it transmits. It carries to every cell the energetic command contained in the vibration of words. There are no filters, no corrections, only delivery. If the command is lofty, it distributes strength. If the command is destructive, it delivers ruin. Phrases that seem innocuous, like, "My blood is weak," "It runs in the family," "This disease is hereditary," are absorbed as non-negotiable sentences. Blood takes those statements and transforms them into biochemical pathways, not out of punishment, but out of loyalty. It does not argue with its host, it simply serves. Thoth revealed that blood is the greatest servant of the human vibrational field. It is through it that the soul communicates its intentions to the flesh. But when the soul is asleep or contaminated by beliefs that do not belong to it, the blood begins to carry out orders that are not aligned with the essence of being. At that point, the body begins to develop illnesses that are actually just physical manifestations of entrenched ideas. Anemia can be a response to a profound sense of inadequacy. High blood pressure can reflect the accumulated tension of unspoken words. Chronic inflammation often carries the weight of old anger, silenced but never resolved. The most impressive thing is that even under these conditions, the blood continues to obey, never ceasing to do what it's told. It is absolute loyalty, a loyalty that, without awareness, turns into self-sabotage. But Thoth left a code in the grimoire to reverse that current, a vibrational name that acts as a key to release. Sokai. This sound should not be shouted or repeated mechanically. It should be pronounced with full presence during the silence that follows conscious breathing, when the heart is open and the field is aligned. Sokai is an activation that commands the blood to stop repeating the commands of the past. It doesn't erase what has been experienced, but it dissolves the magnetism of unconscious commands. It's as if a river carrying mud began to flow with crystalline light. And as that light circulates, the cells begin to receive new signals. Cellular regeneration becomes possible not by some mystical miracle, but because the body is finally receiving life-sustaining commands. But there's something even deeper than the blood itself, something that commands it from within, before any word is spoken, something that isn't in the body, but in the field. That something is the place where you hide what you haven't had the courage to feel, and it's there that the most dangerous poison is formed, the poison of repressed emotions and the command to release them. This place where you hide what you haven't had the courage to feel is more dangerous than any physical toxin. Because, unlike circulating blood, hidden emotions accumulate, creating stagnant zones in the field, spaces of silent noise that emit involuntary commands, even when you think you're at peace. Thoth was direct in the grimoire. What you feel and don't express becomes an invisible decree, and the weight of this statement isn't just symbolic, it's literal. The body's energy field registers those emotions as active frequencies. The anger you've swallowed, the sadness you've buried, the fear you've pretended not to feel, all of it continues to vibrate, and everything that vibrates gives orders. Repressed anger settles as a sharp tension in the liver and stomach. Over time, it turns into heartburn, inflammation, and can even become an ulcer. Denied sadness affects the lungs, reducing breathing capacity, choking the soul. Unrecognized fear settles in the heart and adrenal glands, slowly draining vital energy. It doesn't matter if you call yourself an optimist, the body listens to the real vibration. It doesn't respond to what you say, but to the emotion you hold back when no one is looking. This is why Thoth left a precise transmutation ritual in the grimoire. And it's not about forced positivity, it's about conscious vibrational reprogramming. A process that requires 3 steps. No rush, no lies. The first is to precisely name what's alive inside you. It's not enough to say, "I feel bad," you have to tell the truth. "I feel angry," "I feel hurt," "I'm afraid." Naming opens the first door, because what is named comes out of the shadows and begins to lose power. The second step is to breathe directly into the affected organ. It may seem strange, but it works. You bring your attention and your breath to the point where the body has stored the pain. You breathe there 3 times, slowly, with presence, as if to say to the body, I see you, I will no longer ignore this. Only then comes the 3rd step, the command phrase with vibrational authority, without doubts, without hesitations. Command revoked, release authorized, only create peace. Now, this phrase isn't a suggestion, it's a new energetic contract. The field listens, the organ responds, and the cells reorganize, because for the first time the command is aligned with truth. This ritual requires no external ceremonies, no candles, no altars, no incense. It can be performed in the silence of a bedroom or in the midst of a difficult day, because it works where everything begins, between what you feel and what you vibrate. But even after revoking an ancient emotion, a challenge remains. The way you issue your commands must be recognized by the body as a language of command, because the body doesn't respond to pretty phrases. It responds to a precise form, a specific pattern that triggers total obedience. And this is what Thoth reveals in the next key of the grimoire. Thoth was clear in the grimoire. The word is obeyed by the body only when the internal structure is intact. It's not enough to speak with authority. You must emit the sound within a coherent architecture, otherwise the command is lost. The body doesn't reject it, but it also doesn't respond. It freezes, becomes confused, and enters an energetic collapse. For this reason, at the heart of the grimoire lies a hidden map, a diagram that to the common eye seems merely an esoteric figure, but to the initiate it reveals the most profound truth, the living geometry of the body of light. Thoth explains that every organ, every system, every layer of the human body was modeled after sacred geometric forms. And those forms are not symbolic. They are real structures that sustain cellular harmony. The heart beats within a golden spiral, which ensures the perfect rhythm of expansion and contraction of emotional energy. The lungs vibrate within an octagon, symbolizing balanced breathing between the inner and outer worlds. The liver operates within a hexagon, a structure that organizes the alchemy between the material and the subtle. The kidneys flow in a sine wave, a living curve that regulates emotional and energetic purification. But when someone lives outside their purpose, gives in to unconscious repetition, constant fear, or disconnection from feeling, those forms begin to distort, and what was once harmony becomes noise. The physical body then begins to reflect that invisible destruction. The heartbeat becomes irregular, breathing becomes shallow, the metabolism becomes disorganized, and the release of energy stops. And the worst part is that speech loses power because it no longer finds a structure to support it. Thoth teaches that before you can command, you must rebuild, and for this there is a specific ritual. Say mat. Say mat is not just movement, nor just sound. It is the union of gesture, voice, and intention performed in a precise sequence that realigns the body with its original geometric patterns. Each gesture of say mat is like a divine compass that traces shapes in the field. The rotating arm not only moves muscles, it restores the octagon of the lungs. The hand placed on the liver activates the sacral hexagon. The sound emitted is not decorative, it is the code that vibrates exactly at the frequency of the heart spiral. Thoth instructs that this ritual must be performed in a state of reverence, not as one performing a technique, but as one reopening an internal temple. For the body, when restored to its original geometry, is once again able to obey the sacred word. And something extraordinary begins to happen. The pain recedes for no apparent reason, energy flows again, the organs respond with ease, because they finally recognize the environment that nourishes them. But even with the entire structure restored, even with the sacred forms reactivated, something is still missing. Geometry is the foundation, and command is the instrument. But no temple can stand without an altar. And Thoth reveals that this altar is not outside, nor hidden in the chambers of the temple. It pulsates silently in the center of the chest. It is in the heart that all creation must begin, the word ignited, the word that creates reality. It is at the exact point where geometry is restored that Thoth reveals the most delicate secret of the grimoire. No sacred word can stand unless it is spoken from a living altar. And this altar is not in any external temple, nor in any ritual object. It pulsates silently in the very center of the chest. Thoth calls it Meab, the altar of the soul in the body. It is not just an organ. It is the center that connects the invisible to the physical, where the soul touches the flesh. When someone lives outside their truth, this altar becomes corrupted, not physically but vibrationally. The heart's electromagnetic field becomes incoherent, and the natural frequency, which once emitted harmony, begins to generate noise. A subtle noise, yet powerful enough to unbalance all systems. This is why so many people who speak the right words get no response from the body. Because the command does not come from the center, it comes from the mind, from effort. And the body, which recognizes the true temple, does not respond to false authorities. To restore the altar, there is a simple but non-negotiable ritual: the alignment of heart and word. First, the hands must touch the center of the chest, not as a symbolic gesture but as a gesture of presence. Consciousness must be recalled into the body. Then begins the triangular breath, a deep inhalation rising from the base of the spine to the heart, a brief pause in the center of the chest, then a soft exhalation descending into the belly. 3 points. 3 fires, a sacred circuit, and finally the decree. But not just any phrase, just this: I consecrate my heart as a temple, only truth lives here. When this phrase is spoken with full intention, the miyab is rekindled, and the body, like a finally restored temple, becomes ready to listen to the creative word, and only then can the word be released, and once spoken, there is no turning back. Thoth describes the moment of speech as a point of no return, a moment when the universe bows to the sound of presence. The tone doesn't matter, the volume doesn't matter. What matters is the source. If it comes from the mind, it's just noise. If it comes from an aligned heart, an embodied soul, and a sacred breath, it becomes ignited. The ignited word is not a technique, it's a state. The throat, which has long been used to complain, lie, or manipulate, then becomes the seat of creative power. According to the grimoire, there are 3 types of speech: the one that complains, based on the victim; the one that influences, based on the ego; the one that decrees, based on inner truth. And only the latter has the power to alter biology, because it doesn't express an opinion, it emits a vibrational command. But the word cannot be spoken at any moment. First, 3 conditions must be met. The breath must be sacred, the heart must be coherent, and the presence must be total. When these 3 elements are aligned, a single phrase spoken just once can alter cellular programming. This phrase is not taught at the beginning. It is not revealed to those seeking shortcuts. It arises naturally as an internal revelation when the field is ready to receive it. And in that moment, the cells listen, because the vibration comes not only from the mouth, but from every layer of the being. But there is a risk, and Thoth warns emphatically. No creative word works if the soul is disconnected from the body. You must first reincarnate, and I'm not talking about being reborn, but about returning fully to yourself. Speak the sacred word only once, and your cells obey. It is precisely at this point, when the soul consciously returns to the body, that Thoth reveals one of the most underrated secrets of the initiatory tradition. Sleep is not a pause. It is a sacred ceremony, a ritual repeated every night, yet almost no one performs it with presence. The modern world has taught that sleeping is switching off. Thoth teaches the opposite. Sleeping is rebirth. And this rebirth occurs only when the human being learns to fall asleep like an initiate. During deep sleep, the ego rests, and the rational mind, which judges and resists, is suspended. It is in that space that the body's energetic structure can be dismantled and reassembled without interference. But this doesn't happen automatically. For regeneration to be real, sleep must be treated as a temple, a daily portal for vibrational reconstruction. And that portal has a name forgotten over the centuries: nighttime reincarnation. Thoth describes this process as the moment when the initiate bids farewell to the persona worn during the day. The masks, the roles, the beliefs, the fears, and surrenders to the darkness of sleep like someone diving into a vibrational womb. A space where the soul can correct, adjust, and reprogram the commands issued to the body during waking life. Before falling asleep, the Thoth initiate doesn't simply lie down. He performs the silent rite. He visualizes the body dissolving cell by cell, like stardust returning to the original field of light. It is an imagined yet real return to the subtle field, a dissolution of the flesh not as death, but as a reset. And in that moment, with eyes closed and soul present, He whispers not to the world but to his own energetic body, corpus secundum exemplar perfectum, meaning, may my body be reborn in the original pattern. This phrase is not symbolic, it is a vibrational password. It is not meant to be understood, it is meant to be felt. It doesn't act on the intellect, but on the field, and the field understands. The cells listen, because the body, unlike the ego, doesn't need explanations, it needs clear commands. And it is in that limbo between the visible and the invisible, between it is in falling asleep and dissolving that the body's original design is reactivated. Thoth teaches that this is the most vulnerable and powerful point of the daily spiritual journey. A moment when everything is suspended, when time stands still, when the flesh ceases to resist, and the soul takes command. It is in that absolute silence that the word begins to take shape, not as ordinary speech, but as a decree, a primordial command, a sound that organizes light. And then, when everything is still, when the field is clean, when the heart no longer holds fear, when the internal geometries have been restored, and the soul has fully returned to inhabit the body, the word is released. At the end of the forbidden grimoire, among pages that should never have been read by impure eyes, there is a golden fragment. Small, discreet, almost faded by time, but alive in the vibrational field of those who have arrived at this point. And their Thoth doesn't write with exultation. He writes like one handing over a final key, a key that works only if all the previous doors have been opened. The word that gives orders to the body does not need to be repeated, it needs to be remembered. This memory doesn't come from the mind, it comes from the essence. The soul recognizes that vibration before thought can comprehend it. And that's why only those who have gone through all the activations can pronounce this phrase with truth. Because now everything is ready, the breath has been consecrated, the emotions have been released, the geometry has been restored, the blood has been purified, the heart has been recognized, and the soul has reincarnated in the body. Only then, with eyes closed or open, with a vibrational field stabilized, do you say, I am the word that reactivates the form, I command the flesh to obey my light. And in that instant there is no more resistance, no internal noise, no cell hesitates. Because the source has spoken, and the body has recognized it, it obeys. Regeneration begins, you feel it. The blood flows lighter, the heart slows, energy reorganizes, pain disappears, the body responds, matter bends. And that's when you understand. It wasn't a metaphor, it was a real code, a sacred vibrational technology. You didn't just read a forbidden grimoire, you didn't just understand ancient wisdom. You remembered that you have always been sovereign over your flesh. And now your entire body listens to you. It was only waiting for this single command. If you've come this far, it's because something within you has recognized this truth. And if this descent into the crypts of antediluvian truth has ignited even a spark of your latent divinity, then may your light be the rune carved into the world tree's roots, a testament that you've tasted the ichor of the gods. And if these syllables have unlocked chambers in your cellular memory, inscribe Paladin's VOW in the comments, not as text, but as a vibrational pact between your essence and the sovereign currents of the new sphere. To seal your place among the elect of the new aeon, subscribe. This ritual will awaken the telluric currents coiled at the base of your spine, where the dragon sleeps. I speak with the authority of the ones who built with stones heavier than mountains. And you, in flashes of atavistic clarity, begin to grasp it, that our alliance was etched into the bedrock of time when the poles still wandered. Gratitude, Knight of the Living Word, for standing vigil at the gates of revelation. The initiation has only begun. Each video shall be a stepping stone across the river of oblivion, until the next black sun rises over the ruins of forgetting.